Hi, I'm Mei Wai, the founder, CEO, and Chief Change Advisor of APAC Global Advisory. And today I have with me here Li Gang, who is the founder, CEO of ELGO Technologies. Hi, how are you, Li Gang?
Yeah, doing great, feeling great.
Doing great, thank you. We're very happy to have Li Gang here because today we're going to talk about AI in the context of change management and organization change. Li Gang has dedicated almost a decade to the dynamic intersection of business analytics as well as AI, and he has worked previously with National Health Group as well as the Ministry of Health, after which he has taken I would say quantum leap towards being a data science director, am I right?
Yes.
Of
So far,
ZOPA, and in his role he specialized in AI for human resource.
yes.
Yes. So specific to ELGO Technologies, Li Gang is now as a founder working to provide customized AI solutions to different organizations to help to transform their businesses. So, Li Gang, it's interesting. We were talking about this, that the Cisco report that has come out has in fact shared that only 13% of Singaporean companies have that readiness for AI, which in a sense is quite a surprise, out of the interviews of 8,000 different companies from 30 countries.
Singapore companies have some way to go in embracing AI. A new survey by tech giant Cisco finds that only 13% of Singapore companies are fully prepared. The first AI Readiness Index surveyed more than 8,000 companies across 30 markets.
But how interesting that the reason why this came about was because there were three major challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first one being the data silo, which you'll be sharing quite a little bit about. People within the organization are also still trying to work out from different departments how that can all come together. And of course, secondly, which is what we're going to be talking about as well, the lack of a change management plan or comprehensive change management plan to move forward. So in a sense, the people are kind of thinking, and we are experiencing that as well, like how we're going to manage all that change of mindset as well as, the technical change that's taking place. And lastly, the protocols, then the governance are not fully in place, right? So maybe starting with the first point, Li Yang, could you share a little bit with your recent experience on data and how you see that also being a barrier through the transformation journeys?
Sure, thanks, Mei Wai. So I think a lot of people, when we look at the challenges in adopting AI or even through the digital transformation itself, most people tend to look at it as a snapshot.
Yes.
But what it actually is more of a journey. So one of the great tools that I use when I talk to clients is I assess what is the level of their data maturity of the organization.
Yes.
Because at different levels, they have different challenges that they face and different kinds of what do they need. How can you help them at different points? It will be different. So there are essentially 5 stages. The first stage is where companies and organizations, they are embarking on this journey. They just started. A lot of the questions they face is, how can I do it? What are tools I should use? Are there examples that I can take reference on? Right? So that's usually the first stage.
So very much more like the infancy stage for startups and smaller SMEs.
Or even large enterprises, they might not have been doing things in a very traditional way.
Yes, true.
Right now, they are trying to digitize their process. That's the first stage. So once they are able to kind of digitalize some of those, their business process, they move into stage 2. Here, starting, they gathered some of the data collected through these systems, and here they will starting to focus on how can they generate some insights,
Yes.
from this data and make more better business decisions. Then moving on, then they move to the third stage when they have more of the business process digitalized. They start gathering some of these insights, but a lot of these data and insights are sitting in all different systems. This is where we see the data silo problem.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
At this stage, then companies, their struggle would then be how can they connect all this data together to make better decisions, right? Better insights. So once they are able to overcome that, they move on to the fourth stage, where here, instead of just generating insights from all the data, how can they make better use of the data? A lot of time, this is where a lot of companies start adopting more sophisticated tools like AI to help them do like maybe more accurate forecasting in terms of their sales, do smart automation. That will be at the stage level 4. The last stage is where a lot of the big tech companies you see that's at the forefront of technology. Here they do a lot more innovation. They drive innovation. They drive research and development, trying to push the boundaries, right? Using what are the new technologies that they can develop, that they can innovate to help to improve the process.
Yes.
Right. So coming back, so a lot of in Singapore's context, a lot of the SMEs falls between first and the second level, where they are still grappling or they are just started on the journey. Right. So a lot of the times they would face, some of them, yes, a bit of data silo problems. They have a few systems, right? But they usually lack the talents and also lack the guidance in terms of how they can actually proceed to do that. How do they generate insight? What can they do with this information?
Yeah, it's kind of like connection of all the insights so that everybody can have a greater awareness of the full organization as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's very helpful, Li Gang.
Yeah, so coming back, so when we talk to people, right? So we try to understand a bit more about their business, from what really works for them. But of course, we can't just look at the organization as a whole, but into their people aspects as well. I
Yes.
believe you have worked with a lot of people that are on
Yes.
this journey as well.
Yes,
Do you want
yes.
to share a bit how can they actually, what are the challenge they face in adopting a change management plan to help them actually move on to subsequent stage of the journey?
Yes, sure. But before that, I also wanted to share that I found these 5 stages that you're talking about very interesting. Particularly, many of my clients face like stage 3, whereby then it's like, that's where the challenge is cross-functionally and that the whole data silo issue comes about. And yet, somebody up at the top in the organization wants to move to stage 5. So that's where that challenge comes in. Now, in terms of answering your question on change management, which also came out as in the survey as one of the big challenges. It's quite interesting. We're sitting here having this conversation now because as shared, I was talking to these 3 people who are actually experts in their profession. And, one of them was in the healthcare segment as well. And she was actually sharing that there's so much AI and digital plans that's moving forward that it causes them to feel very stressed, and she just jokingly said she might actually retire early because of that. And this actually illustrates for me actually within that joke is a lot of this is going on is the mindset of that anxiety of what's new out there, which is causing a lot of stress across industries because of the unknown. And also because in terms of the generation, some of the generations of the past have grown up with what you call that perfectionist syndrome, meaning that everybody is expert in their functional area. If you're not an expert, and then don't go dabble in that area. Now, the whole idea of AI is really about the more curious you are, the more you explore. Let's just try, let's just jump in there. It's so different for them, when the CEO is saying to them, just step forward, into this new area. So mindset is certainly an area that plays a part. The other one is about the comprehensive and holistic change management plan. In the first place, it's not just about change communication, but what is the change impact? Before each transformation takes place, that needs to be tabled out in order to know what are the shifts in resources, shifts in processes, role mapping as well, right? And many different links to be made within the different departments or across countries. So that very complex piece, many of the companies, well, at least the mid-sized family businesses or even the small size, wouldn't even envisage having experts to help them in this process. So what they do is okay, you're HR, right? Or you are head of marketing, you have to do that. You have to take on that de facto role as well. But then they are not trained to be able to do that in a structured manner, or the change management plan become very bits and pieces. It's not a holistic plan. So that's where the challenge comes from.
Oh,
What about you?
Those are very good points in terms of how to manage the change management in terms of organizations, especially on the formal piece, right? I think that hits hard. So I was joking, end of last year, right? I think ChatGPT was rolled out.
Yes.
And it was one of the biggest topics that's being discussed in the business landscape all across, right? We even joke that a lot of the software companies, they joke for the entire year, for their board meetings, the main question that everyone was asked is, have you integrated ChatGPT to your product?
Yes.
Right? There's so much development happening.
Yeah.
Right, that it's even as a data science professional, I feel that it's quite tough keeping up.
Yes.
And a lot of these new things developing and new tools, new capabilities actually will cause the kind of anxiety in many people.
Yes.
I think that's for sure. Right, especially business leaders, right? They need to keep that A game. They need to keep
Even the board
Yes.
also will be asking ChatGPT. Yes.
Yes, that's correct. So I think one way to cut through this, to reduce the anxiety and also kind of create a path for the organization moving forward in this journey, right, is going back to the basics. Right, one way is to looking back at your business. What would really help to actually transform it? Is there any critical process? Is it through your sales and marketing? Identify the kind of the key area that would help. Then next, this will be a journey. You are going through this transformation journey because you essentially want to make the business better, right? So through that, identifying the problem or the area that you want to work on, you start to do an explore. You don't need to explore everything, just whatever that would help. Come up with some tools, and it's also great at this point in time, seek some guidance or expert advice on how you are going to roll it out, what are the tools that are suitable for you. So once you're able to select those tools, you also do a proper assessment. This is where you create your change management plan, do risk assessments, right? Have those in place, have a rollout plan and communication plan as well. After that, you just need to communicate well with your stakeholders and just execute. So if you look at it, it's a very simple steps.
Yes,
So the key thing is to keep it simple and focus on what is beneficial to you, and don't worry too much about the rest.
Well, thank you, Li Gang, for sharing these tips. And I think also for being here for anybody who is interested to find out more on AI. So with that, we would like to say thank you to everybody, and do watch us on our next episode, again on the next topic relating to AI and change.